Hey guys, I'm Myra from Low Carb Love. So today my idea for this video is to show you guys how to make like 3 really easy breakfasts. Everything's done in one pan. One of my favorite breakfasts is like something that has potatoes that's nice and hearty. So of course we're gonna keep it low carb. To substitute the potato, we are gonna use a turnip. So for those of you that don't know what a turnip is, it looks like this little guy here. It actually comes from the radish family. Great potato substitute. It really mimics potato in terms of texture, no flavor. So it really just takes on like any flavor that's in, you know, your other ingredients. So I'm gonna show you my first one here. This is like a potato, like a hash. We're gonna start off with a little oil. So we just have some avocado oil. Just gonna pour it over. This is just to kind of saute our onions and get our veggies cooking. Okay, so typically if you're using potatoes, then you would just saute your onions and kind of go about sauteing all your veggies. But because we are using turnips, it takes a little longer to cook. We're gonna start off with our turnips. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour these in. So we're just gonna go ahead and let this cook down. You just want it to be kind of like fork tender. I'm just gonna go ahead and let this soften up a little. With turnips, super low in carbs, super low in calories, and it really mimics potatoes. So at the end of the day, you can use this like to make chorizo. Like that's one of my favorite breakfasts is like potatoes and chorizo. So I don't know, I've been thinking about trying it. We'll probably let it cook for about 2 minutes before we start tossing in the rest of the veggies. And they do cook a lot faster because they're small. Like if it was like obviously big pieces, and it's gonna take a little longer, but it's kind of just like potatoes. So meanwhile, we'll just season it with a little salt and pepper. So this is pretty much fork tender, but now I'm gonna toss in the onion and the rest of the veggies. So I'm adding a tiny bit more of avocado oil, and here goes our onion. Onion in the kitchen, like when I'm sauteing onions, it literally makes me so hungry. It just smells so good, onion and garlic. You know, growing up, I didn't like onion. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I think it's one of those things, like when you're young, it's like our taste buds aren't fully developed or something, you know? So our onions are sauteed. I do have some chopped up bell peppers. I was gonna add the whole thing, but it's just a little excessive, so I'm just gonna do like half. And before I add the rest of my veggies, I'm just gonna add in the sausage just so that it gets like a nice crisp, you know? So the sausage, I just picked this one up from Costco. I think it's like Swiss mushroom sausage. I always like to mess around with sausages. Like they have the apple, chipotle, because at the end of the day, this is what I've always thought. Like you go out to eat, you're always, you know, you're gonna have chicken, like some type of seafood, or steak. So what makes everything different are like obviously flavors. And so that's what I've been trying to think more like when I'm just making like quick meals. I just try to add different flavors and it just changes up the whole entire thing. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Do you see how the sausages kind of has a nice little browning to it? That to me is like, okay, we're good. We're on the right track. And now we're just gonna add in some mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Mushrooms, for me personally, I'm obsessed with the taste, but they're also really filling and they're super low in calories. Whenever I can add it to like a stir fry, to a salad, to like in this case, a hash, I'm like, oh, we're doing it for sure. Okay, and now we're just gonna toss in some tomato. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 5 minutes. I added a little salt, pepper. I love to add like garlic powder, onion powder. I'm sure you guys have your favorite seasonings, so just go ahead and season it up. It's just gonna give it more flavor. If you have a family, then this is obviously great for like a breakfast, weekend. I mean, it's so quick. And I mean, it's obviously really filling, but you can also do this like on a Sunday and then meal prep your breakfast for the week. It just makes life easier. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like if you don't have your food prepped, it's just more of a chance for you to like snack on things that are not on plan, you know? And that happens to me. Like if I don't have food and then I start looking, I'm like, whatever I find, I'm eating. So it's always great to have something like this. Okay, so we're adding some cayenne pepper, paprika. I just picked these up at my local grocery store. And then we have cumin, and then of course salt and pepper. Okay, so since we're cooking everything in one pan just to make obviously everything easier, less dishes, what I'm doing right now is just kind of making a little well because we are going to cook our eggs in here. So I'm gonna add in a little avocado oil in the little well. This is just optional. I mean, you don't have to because we're gonna cover it. So we're just gonna toss in our huevitos, and there's 5 of us here, so 1 egg for each of us. If I was eating this alone, I'd be having at least 2 eggs for sure. So we have our eggs. Do a little salt and pepper, and then we're going to cover it. And this is perfect because you can literally set it on the table and everyone just kind of dig in, grab their portion, and breakfast is served. So we're gonna go ahead and cover it, and we'll be back when they're ready. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 2 minutes. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. So now you can just leave it as is or top it. We're gonna top it with a little Mexican blend cheese. I'm just gonna leave one without cheese because that one's mine. But the team all loves quesito, so we are going to top it with cheese. And then you can finish it off with a little bit of cilantro. And if you want, like for me, my creamy component will be like some avocado. Now we're just gonna cover it so the cheese gets melty. All right, so as you can see, gorgeous, beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and plate one of the cheesy ones so that it looks beautiful. You guys already know which one mine is. Very nice. I am getting like Mexican vibes from this, so I would probably have a tortilla, but you know, this is option number one, 10 minutes, one pan meal. Let's move on to the next. But first, we're gonna go ahead and do a taste test. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of cilantro to my bite. I got a little bit of everything. The only thing I'm gonna need is like some avocado, some Mexican salsa. Let's go. I'm telling you, every time you make this, it's gonna be a hit. And it's so easy, one pan. Thumbs up. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside, and then I'm gonna show you skillet number 2. So our first skillet done. Now we're moving on to our shakshuka. The easiest way to make a shakshuka, of course, you can make the sauce from scratch and it's gonna turn out so amazing, but you can also just use marinara sauce. So you can use marinara sauce, pasta sauce, pizza sauce even. The first thing we're gonna start off with is sauteing our onions. So just a little bit of avocado oil. So we have our onion, we have our bell peppers. Go ahead and saute that. Now this here is an extra step. I personally wouldn't skip out on it just because it gives it like that homemade taste, because remember we are using just like a jarred marinara sauce, and the onion and bell pepper is just gonna give it, you know, more of like that homemade authentic taste. So let's saute this. You can add a little bit of garlic, which we have right here. Guys, onion and garlic, when you saute it, it just makes your whole house smell like a restaurant. Amazing. I love this little hot plate. I'm really digging it because I can talk to you guys, I can cook. I don't have to be like, you know? Okay, so that's nice and sauteed. Just a minute, like just until they start becoming translucent. And here we have, this is just like a low sugar marinara sauce. So we're just gonna toss that in. So even if you don't have time, like let's just say you're like, I need to make the quickest breakfast on the face of this planet. Grab your marinara sauce. You don't even have to saute the onions or peppers or anything. Toss your marinara sauce onto the heat, put your eggs over, cover, top it with cheese, and you're done. You literally have a breakfast from start to finish in like 3 minutes, but this is gonna be like 5 minutes because we did saute the onions and peppers. So let's go ahead and heat this up. And then we're gonna toss in our eggs, and I cannot wait for you guys to see how this turns out. Legitimately one of the easiest and most delicious breakfasts ever. Do a little salt and pepper. You can add like a little bit of oregano, some chili flakes if you like the spice. Have a little bit of salt. And then here we have chili flakes and oregano. You're just kind of like spicing up the sauce. Do a little bit of that and a little bit of chili flakes. Just depends on how much spice you like. So we're gonna go ahead and do our eggs. And if you have like a big, like you're trying to serve this for like a whole family, just do a huge pot of it and then put like all your eggs. We're gonna do 3 for this one. 3 eggs. Okay, so now we're just gonna cover it, let the eggs cook to your liking, and then we're gonna top it with cheese. Let's check on our eggs. Beautiful, so they're starting to cook through. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the cheese now. Adding a little cheese, you can add, this is just mozzarella. You can add parm, you can add queso fresco, you can add a little bit of both, Mexican blend cheese, like literally your absolute favorite cheese. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that and let it finish cooking. All right, let's check. Beautiful. This is perfect. Now we're just gonna top it off with a little basil. You can do cilantro, you can do whatever your little heart desires. Chili flakes for the spice. And you have a breakfast shakshuka literally in less than 10 minutes. I'm thinking more 5 minutes. It's probably, with like filming and all this, it took about 8 minutes, but you can literally have this done, boom, 5 minutes. So the last breakfast idea I'm gonna show you is a breakfast green enchilada skillet. So again, remember the sauteing of the onions is completely optional, but I'm not gonna miss out on that step. So toss that baby in. We have a little bit of bell peppers. I just like to throw in peppers. Whenever I have them on hand, I just try to use them in my recipes. I think it also adds to the flavor. So we have our onions and pepper sauteing. I'm gonna add in a little minced garlic. I always like adding fresh garlic. I feel like it just tastes a lot better. Like it really gives the food you're cooking like more flavor than if you add powder. But if you don't have raw fresh garlic, then next best thing is garlic powder. Okay, so we have sauteed onions, garlic, peppers. Now we're gonna add in our green enchilada sauce. I'll show you the one that I use. I just pick it up at my local store. Toss that right in. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. This is the one that I use. I don't know, it's probably like $3 or so. It is so good. Like, this is just a breakfast skillet, but you can actually make enchiladas with it, and it's just like a super quick version. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you wanna make your green enchilada sauce from scratch, then we can do that too. But whenever I'm just like, boom, quick, I want breakfast on the table, I'm hungry, this is my go-to right here. Out of the three, this is the one that I make the most, just because, again, I love the flavors. So we're gonna let that get hot, and then we're gonna add in our eggs, and I'm gonna show you the final product super quick. Ooh, beautiful. Okay, so now we're just gonna top it with our cheese. I'm doing a little Mexican blend. You can do Mexican blend and queso fresco, and then you finish it off with cilantro or something like that. I'll show you how I'm gonna serve this, but let's go ahead and cover it up. It's gonna finish cooking, and then we're done. Ooh, beautiful. And now finish it off with cilantro. Start to finish, literally, I was just a little over 5 minutes. And you have a delicious breakfast. You have your protein. I mean, you know, eggs are the best, like macronutrient dense food. Perfect, like the perfect ratio. Yeah, guys, these breakfasts for me personally, I'm really big on, you know, what I break my fast with, just because I feel like that's one of the most important things. It's gonna kind of like dictate your day. Are you starting off on the right foot? So with all of these, you have your protein, obviously eggs, like I mentioned, great macronutrient, full of protein. You get your healthy fats. If you're able to get pasture raised eggs, even better. If not, traditional conventional eggs are gonna do just fine. But these, all three of them were made in less than 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the recipe in the description below. If you guys like this video and idea, make sure you hit that like button. And don't forget, share not only this video, but the channel with your friends and family that are living a low carb lifestyle, or that you know are just trying to make some healthier choices in their life. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I love you, and I'll see you on the next video. Mwah.